go too far in to get my video restricted. Welcome back, Team DWC. It's your boy TWP Popcorn. Y'all already know what time it is. 10 a.m. Saturday, 10 a.m. Sunday, 6 p.m. Wednesdays, aka another day in paradise. Keep a consistent corn so that way y'all know to come look for your boy. Shouts out to people that come looking. Somebody will want to see me. You dig? Anyways, we already got the Rumble video started. We've been over here jamming, so y'all know to go catch the behind the scenes action and the replay gang over there on Rumble, because you know we here to network on YouTube, but every other thing else we doing is on Rumble or buy me a coffee. So shout out to spreading the butter, because that's what we do. You dig? But anyways, we finna go ahead and flip the camera around, get y'all ready with a video, because we already got our to-do list pulled up. I just tweaked it a little bit, so it's even better, because we're gonna go ahead and get in our little quick research on Vegas, because y'all know coming up we planning on going to the next MJ bizcon, which is in December. And you already see I'm doing my research now, because hell, I ain't gonna be stuck in one of these shitty ass rooms we gonna see in the video. But let's get to it.
Every Las Vegas hotel and had some amazing experiences and places that I totally recommend. However, I've also had some really bad stays. So today I'm going to be sharing with you my top 5 worst hotels in Las Vegas. These are going to be the ones that you need to avoid so you don't end up ruining your vacation. So let's get started with the least worst. The one that I think is not as terrible. Let's talk about Excalibur. You can get a room at Excalibur for as low as $60 to $70 a night during the week. Now, the first time we stayed here, we were in an absolutely filthy room. We walked into a horror show. It smelled horrible. We did call down and switch our room.
Good to see you.
How you
doing?
Has an overall feeling of shabbiness. It's going to be very worn. I also noticed that the sheets feel like straight up sandpaper and the towels feel real rough. So you're just getting this kind of bare bones feeling to the rooms. On top of that, the casino floor, it is a large and lively casino. However, sometimes it can get a little stinky on the casino floor. Think like smoke, dirty diaper smell. It's really not my favorite. The pool here is decent and it's large. The chairs, again, extremely shabby, very rickety. The main drawback on the pool is you are going to have lots and lots of kids. Now, again, this is a family-friendly property. It's designed for people with kids. They have a whole bottom floor that is an arcade. It's for people to come and bring their kids and play while they go up and gamble. So you have to keep in mind that you're going to see lots of kids running around when you are staying at Excalibur, which can be a drawback for some. I get why people stay at Excalibur. It's affordable. It's not a bad spot, and it is on Strip. But I think if you spend just a little bit more, there are some significantly better options that smell a little nicer and feel a little bit better taken care of. Let's talk about my number 4 pick. We are going to talk about Rio. This one does have a caveat that it has exchanged hands. There is a new owner coming in, so we'll talk about that. Rooms right now start at about $80-ish over the week, so not crazy cheap these days. I have one word for you, and it's just abandoned. This place kind of felt like you were in a shopping mall in the zombie apocalypse. The casino floor was a ghost town.
Just out here
When we
putting in
stayed
that
here,
work.
there was absolutely nobody around. All the restaurants were closed. The buffet is closed. Our room also felt incredibly dated. It was extremely 90s. Now the footprint of these rooms is amazing. They're huge, and it was very clean, so the housekeeping is doing a great job, but it was a tired room. And the neglect kind of continues over to the pool. The pool is massive. I bet in its heyday, this pool area was the spot to be, and that is kind of the theme of the Rio overall. Back in its heyday, it was amazing. They have neglected the chairs, they have neglected the cabanas, everything looks weather beaten to heck. And I'm hoping that one day maybe the Rio will become a place to be again, because it did get taken over by Dreamscape. They're renovating, they are adding new dining. However, I do have to mention that the Rio is not in a good location. It is close to the Strip, but you have to walk over a highway overpass to get to the Strip. You can stay for this price point really close to Strip or on Strip. As of right now, it's just kind of this sad ghost town, and so it's one that I recommend you skip. Now for our number 3 worst hotel, we are going to be downtown, because this is by far the worst stay I've had. Downtown has really been doing a lot with their properties. They're upgrading rooms, they're renovating casinos, they're adding dining. They're really giving the Strip a run for its money in terms of a value vacation. But one property is not doing enough for me, and we are going to talk about Hotel Apache at Binion's. Room rates start here as low as $50 per night, and they do not charge a resort fee. I think we got the worst room they have in this hotel. It was very tiny. There wasn't even like any furniture really. There was actually no closet. So our ironing board was just kind of like floating in the middle of the room. The ceilings were kind of tall for how small the room was, so it felt very cell-like. And oh my gosh, there was an adjoining room, and the crack in the door was easily 3 inches. So huge. You could totally feel like you were sharing a room with the people next door. It was not great. I also don't like the casino at Binion's. There are big empty spaces here, and the lighting is off. It's kind of too bright in here, and there's no music playing, so it's like very bright and very quiet, which is a strange atmosphere to be gambling in. They used to have tons of awesome memorabilia, and they've taken a lot of it out. I hope they do bring some of that back. They did bring back the $1 million, and it is free to take a picture with that. So that is totally worth checking out and very cool. We ate at Top of Binion's. It's their steakhouse. The view was amazing. Our server was amazing. The food was just okay, unfortunately. Overall, I just don't find myself wanting to go into Binion's. I know it has a ton of history, and I know people love this place, but in terms of a stay, downtown there are so many great options, and even the Four Queens, which Binion's owns, I actually enjoyed my stay at Four Queens. I just think you should skip Hotel Apache. On to number 2 on our worst list. Let's talk about Circus. I found room rates under $50. This is extremely affordable for being on Strip. So the super nice lady at the desk put us in what she said is the good tower, and our room felt so dated, so dated. We did have a duvet cover that had what I'm hoping was cinnamon roll icing on it, and they even have a sign that says, like, if you take any of these items, you're purchasing them. Like, so obviously they've had theft issues. They're very tired. The room is not great. The pool, again, I felt like I was in the zombie apocalypse. It's like in an abandoned parking lot, and it kind of feels like an abandoned water park. There's these really tall slides kind of area, and then like a deeper pool, but like all the signage and everything around the pool is incredibly weather worn. It's very strange. The buffet is absolutely abysmal. It's so bad. I feel kind of bad ragging on this place so much because it is kind of meant to be a family place, and I know that's who it's for, and it's not for me. And I have to say, the circus acts, they are great. They have a midway with midway
She said it
games for
wasn't
kids.
for me.
And then they have the Adventure Dome, which is like a fun theme park for families. So when you're on the casino floor, you're seeing these big families pushing strollers with babies, and also some sketchy people. There's just some sketch balls hanging out at Circus, and the combination makes me feel incredibly uncomfortable. The whole casino kind of gives me a little bit of anxiety. I just do not recommend Circus to you. I know it's incredibly affordable. I know it's got a family-friendly vibe. There are definitely better places for you to be.
Can't be mad at the family vibe, though.
Oh, my number one worst hotel in Las Vegas is the Oyo. You can find rooms here for $70 a night, which I have to say is insane. It should be no dollars a night to stay here. I am not exaggerating when I say everything that you could think to be bad about this place happened to us. We got stuck in an elevator. A fire alarm went off while we were staying here. The room itself was like a bomb went off. Every piece of furniture in our room was destroyed. The lamp was all wrecked. The curtains were ripped and then stapled back together. Our closet was broken. Our entertainment center was broken. The sink was clogged.
So
when I went to
stapled
turn a
back together,
shower
though.
handle, it fell off. The room was a nightmare. It was a total train wreck. When we went down to the pool, there was garbage floating in it. There was caution tape and like the cover of a dirty magazine floating around in the pool, so that was really gross. The casino floor itself looks decent, but it is small. People come here because they have cheap beers and $1 blackjack, but guys, you can just go downtown to the Downtown Grand. That property is really nice, and they have dollar blackjack and cheap beers. Gosh, I mean, guys, there were people sleeping in the hallway. It was so insane. If you haven't seen that video, go watch it. It is comedy. It's prime entertainment. For $70, you can stay on Strip and have a much better time. So that is my list. Now, I want to have a disclaimer. If you've stayed at any of these places and you had a great time, that's great. I'm really happy for you. I'm glad that you had a good time there, but these are the ones that I personally think you should avoid. If you're looking for recommendations, I do have my top 5 best hotels for your money up on my channel right now. Thank you guys so much for watching this video. I hope you found it helpful and entertaining, and I will catch you guys all in our next.
Shout out to our level 2 Buy Me a Coffee member, Melinda.
This is my first layer of color. I need to maybe go back and fill in a few little spaces, but I'm supposed to start with the light color first and the skin first if I can. Well, really the lightest color on the page first, and the skin appears to be the lightest color on the page. And yep, this is my first layer. I'm going to go on to my second layer. So here is my second layer, starting to do some shadowing, and then I have a third, even darker layer around the edges. So right now, I put in my darker color, and I am using my lighter colors to do some blending and try and make it a little bit smoother. I just got a few more minutes to work, and then my break is over. Bye. From a distance, which is generally how you view a picture that you framed and put on your wall, the coloring doesn't look too bad. Closer up, it looks to me like I need to do more blending, but yeah, considering it's the first adult coloring I've done, at least it's a good start.
Getting into new hobbies. Y'all know y'all gotta check out people to get recommendations.
Yo, I just had an insane week at MJ BizCon in Las Vegas. I met a ton of YouTubers and amazing new homies. I stayed in some of the worst hotels in Las Vegas. We were blowing clouds everywhere, and at the end of the trip, I almost got arrested in Utah. This was a really crazy week, and it almost didn't even happen. Check this out. And this video follows all YouTube community guidelines and should not be age restricted. This video only features the use of legal tobacco products and does not encourage the use or sale of any substance. All items used in this video are fake movie props. So here's the thing, I usually make all of my YouTube videos alone in my room. I don't really travel for events, and honestly, I've never met anyone else who does 420 friendly videos. I've only collabed with like one other channel ever, and I've always felt like sort of an outsider, just watching everyone else connect and do cool stuff. But I was watching. A couple of weeks ago, I caught a Pigeons 420 stream where he and Rob from CLTV were hyping up MJ BizCon, talking about how much fun it is to meet up with everyone, and I thought, man, that sounds amazing. I started watching recap videos from last year, and it looked exactly like what I'd been missing out on. But when I checked online, the ticket was $400 plus hotels in Vegas and everything else to pay for, and that just was not happening. But I really wanted to go, so I applied for a press pass just to see what would happen. Fast forward to Tuesday, the day before the event, and I saw Pigeons post about a meetup, and him and Rob replied to my comment saying I should come. So then I checked my email. I was approved for a free entry pass. And that's when I knew I had to make this happen. I grabbed a bunch of camera gear and started packing my car, and I was just gonna drive it. And that's when I realized that I had to convince Nick to drop everything and come with me.
Nick, we have to go to Vegas right now. No.
To Vegas?
Yes.
No.
Yes.
We hit the road with 11 hours ahead of us, and Utah was way cooler than I expected. Mountains, deserts, all of it. Also, fun fact, I learned that my car can on cruise control. Dope. Half a day later, we rolled into Las Vegas, and the first thing was posting to Instagram to let everyone know we made it. Okay, so we're here. We just touched down. 11 hours of driving. My butt is sore, and now we need to find
Yeah, 11 ain't that bad.
And I just saw a White Castle, so I'm thinking Matt and Nick go to White Castle. He's looking for a dispo.
Yes.
Damn, that's a bright light. Our first stop was at the Grove Distillery. We grabbed some live diamonds and doobies to start the trip off right. We had to get prepared for White Castle. It feels so good to finally have some smoke. To get there, we went through the Venetian, which looked insane inside. And I saw this boat. Nick, if we smoked in this boat, it would be a gondola. We hit the White Castle for the first time in my life, and naturally, I had to honor Harold and Kumar with a mountain of burgers. And after being awake for about 35 hours and a little pregame session, they were pretty good. We finally pulled into Circus, which felt sort of surreal to see in real life. This place is kind of crazy, but after we checked in, I
At
had
least
to
there's
get
White
some
Castle.
sleep. The next morning started with Einstein's Bagels in the casino, and a nice lady gave me a free pre-roll because she was about to get on the plane, and she could totally tell I wanted it.
It has like a little plastic lid, like a takeout order. Okay, cool.
This Vegas stuff was pretty good, though. A couple of rounds with the bomb later, and I was off to the convention center to pick up my press pass. Nick had to stay behind to work. When I got there, the vibes were sort of hectic with the check-ins, but I got my press pass and immediately ran into Haven from High Again. What's up, homie? On my way out, I saw Pigeons 420, Matt from ICANN, the whole From the Stash crew, and the whole Homegrowers Takeover crew. Meeting these people in real life felt insane, but I had no time to chill because I had to head back to Nick. It turns out the hotel I booked for 2 nights was actually only for 1 night, so Nick's key to the room wasn't working anymore. We got moved to a side motel that barely felt like Circus anymore, and this was our first hotel downgrade of the trip. We got our stuff moved over and headed back to the convention center to grab Nick's badge, and his was not free at all. Inside the convention was what I expected. Lots of cool tech and gear for business owners in the legal industry. A robot doggo came up to me to show me his moves. I got something for him later. I saw some bootleg South Park gummies, Nick found a jar as big as him, and I saw some camera setups that I definitely need. But honestly, I was just there to meet some cool people. And meet cool people we did. Everyone was super chill and the vibes were amazing. That was it for the convention on Wednesday, but the night was far from over. So back to the circus for a shower. After a shower, we doinked our way down the Las Vegas Strip. I could see the sphere glowing in the distance, but we were headed to Resorts World. This place is huge, and they even have a mini sphere on the inside. Nick was doing a little gambling when I heard about an after party I couldn't miss. I hit the road and pulled up to Untrained Astronaut's Airbnb just in time to be on his live stream.
I hear a door. Is it Matt?
Is that?
Matt! Oh shit, we're freshly live in this
We're
motherfucker.
freshly live in this
Look,
mother.
it's him.
What up? This house was set up so dope. It was full of creators and cool people, custom shirts for the homies' YouTube channels. I had a great talk with Don from Can for like an hour, and I met so many great people.
And then there's Strange Show's butt, and then, yep.
Ooh, this is exactly why I came to MJ BizCon. We burned it down till like 3 a.m. and I left feeling like I had made some really amazing connections. Okay, Thursday morning, I'm barely awake. We have to be out of this room in like 7 minutes. At least I have some coffee. Today's gonna be fun. Let's go. Let's get this room clean and get out of here. I've got so much stuff. Thursday morning, we had to move to an even cheaper hotel, but on the way there, I noticed I didn't have my wallet. No ID, no money, just pure panic. I thought about all of the different places I could have lost it, and I knew right then that I would never find it again. I couldn't check into the new room, I didn't know what to do, so I drove back towards Circus thinking it must have been in our room. And when we called them on the phone, I was blown away. So we were on the way to our second hotel, and I looked down and I said, "Hey Nick, do you have my wallet?" And he's like, "No, I haven't seen it." I was like, "It's supposed to be here." And we realized that my entire wallet, credit cards, IDs, everything, just completely lost. All lost. So we called the circus and we said, "Yo, did I leave my wallet there?" And they were like, "Hold on a second. Yes, you did, and we have it. Just come get it." So we went back and we actually got it. I can't believe I lost my wallet in Vegas and got it back. Jesus Christ, Nick, I'm so happy.
What up, Estrella? Good to see you. How you doing?
1 in a billion chance. I had never been so happy to check into a Motel 6 in all of my life.
Okay, this is a definite downgrade to the Motel 6. What? There's no door in the bathroom and there's no door on the shower. We got a curtain though.
Then we hit the Ross for some much-needed undershirts and sunglasses, and the mood was amazing on the way back to the convention center. The bag check was super relaxed, and they didn't even seem to notice the whole rig I had in my bag. We walked around a bit, and meeting homies who watched the channel was amazing.
Oh yeah, what up, dude?
Let me get a hello. Say hello.
Hello, how you doing? I'm here at MJ Biz and
What's your name?
Cliff.
Cliff. We got Cliff here. We just met another homie.
Yes.
Thanks for watching the video.
You're welcome.
Hey, nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you. Look, we got homies up in here. What's your name?
Patricio.
Patricio in the house, dude. What's up? Yeah, Nick, we take a photo first.
I saw you from behind. I was like, oh, I think I wanted to take a picture with you.
Seriously, to anyone who came up to say hi, thank you so much. That is one of the coolest feelings ever. We saw some cool distillation gear, a lot of big equipment, and cool tech, but the munchies were very real, so it was more burgers in the convention center. Pretty good for convention food. I also met this awesome homie from Method 7 who hooked me up with some sick grow room glasses. Big ups to Method 7. Then we heard that the good smoking spot was out back, so of course, that was the next move. I would say there's just a little bit of smoke out here, buddies. It smells so good out here. We grabbed a table and immediately all of the homies I had met so far all showed up. This had to be the biggest session of the week. Everybody ended up at this table at some point. I even met more amazing people who watched the channel, and we all shared stories, laughs, and lots of herbs. The bomb was putting in work. Even the Raw crew showed up and hooked everyone up with a bunch of Raw gear. Although Rob's beer didn't survive the Raw pillow. Hey look, the robot dog came back. But this time, I had something for him.
That's
Here
that bullshit.
is the buddy.
Shout out to
I also got to meet
CLTV
the
though.
homies from LMC. We
What up,
didn't get to
Coach
talk
Sherry?
for
Good
too
to see
long,
you. How
but
you
the
doing?
conversation we did have was awesome. Super chill
I'm gonna go
vibes.
check out
Clicked
Coach
right
Sherry.
away, and before they headed out, I grabbed
Buy me a
their
coffee
numbers,
or
so
YouTube.
hopefully we can link
Either
up
way.
again. Dope. And
You
then
dig?
I met Liz. Liz, if you're watching, it was incredible meeting you. I didn't really expect to run into anyone who watches my videos, so when you came up so excited about the channel, it completely caught me off guard in the best way possible. The way you lit up and told me how much my videos mean to you honestly made my whole trip. Meeting creators was amazing, but
You already know we did
moments
Super
like this with the
Saturday
fans ended up
over
being
on Spider
even more
Pig. Had a good video over there, you know, did like good views over there for Spider Pig, so we happy with that. Now we right back over here doing our MJ BizCon homework. We started off with the worst hotels to go to in Vegas. It was some other YouTuber video we did a review on, but I trust her judgment. So you did, she did the video, so you know I'll at least listen to her. You did. She said, "Nah, this is the shit." And then bros over here collaborating, saying, "Yeah, there's some shitty hotels in Vegas, so watch out." Hell.
Are special. It reminded me why I do this. Liz, you're amazing. Thank you so much. I love you, buddy. Another shower at the hotel, and it was off to the home growers takeover house.
Check out this pool, though. Water polo out here by the pool.
So you
Maybe
gotta
we should
get you
jump
an
in.
The
Airbnb, huh?
vibes there were incredible. Great people, a fat session, lots of fun. Oh, and this.
Dash podcast room, Vegas style, baby. Check this out. This is dope, dude.
So cool seeing creators working together like this. After that, me and Nick drove to Fremont Street to explore. Fremont was very cool. Nick grabbed a drink and we just started walking around. We We hit the Four Queens, where Nick lost some money on a slot machine. Then we went to the Circa, which was pretty cool too, with some big, huge neon lights.
Okay, so we got done. We did a little gambling, a little bit of roulette over on Fremont Street. Now it's time to, I think, hit the old
That's what
street.
I've pretty much heard. It's either hit or miss. So I'm thinking about booking this early because that's 6 months from. Nah, it's in December, so I got way over 6 months to pre-plan that trip. Because it won't be till December, and here we are midway through March.
Bad.
But it was like
Although the year
by
is
far the
March Eve,
cheapest
though.
thing we could find. Look at this. The fuck? This is the bathroom. Gross. Disgusting. It smells like 1,000 million cigarettes in here. But there's a bed that I'm gonna cover in my own blankets, and I'm gonna sleep on that. So fuck it.
Yeah, definitely
Friday
take 2
morning
blankets with you.
started
One to
out
sleep
with a
over
mission.
and then
We
one
had
to
these
sleep under.
cards from the homie at Raw for some 1 penny
That's
raw
part of my how to stay in
pins. So it
hotels
was back
video
to the
coming up.
Grove. While we were there, I also grabbed some more sauce for the bomb. We ripped some pins on the way back to the convention center, and when we got in, we could notice a clear difference. Okay, on Friday, it definitely feels like there's like half as many people here. Also, more convention burgers. On the way to the smoke spot, we ran into Mr. Grow It. Camera. And a real life doggy. Hey, little cute boy. Oh, you good, sweet boy.
Look who I found.
Excuse me, Phil, I'm gonna need some identification.
What's going on, man? Good to see you, bro.
Good to see you. I can't, I'm looking.
Yeah, Deuce Farms changed his name, so that's actually who everybody's
On
there
the
doing
patio,
there.
the bomb was ripping again. We were
Top
all looking at each
YouTubers.
other's footage and just talking about how cool the week had been so far. The energy was amazing.
Except for I ain't seen her say nothing about Cupins being there, which is whatever. That 360 is a fucking that's why I said we gotta get them at the fucking events.
There
God
was
damn
even
it,
a
buddy.
big coloring wall that we hit up. I had to tag Strange Show, but it looked like I drew a pineapple instead of a leaf. We hit the breeder section of the convention, which was super cool. I got a shot of this big ass doobie limo, and then we made our way to the bar.
That was seamless. Just a couple quick edits and that'll look perfect.
We walked like the whole convention center just seeing what was left and what we might come across for free.
Hey, give me that shit. I'll take it. Y'all got any lighters left or what? Stickers? What you got? What, do you want to pack them up and take them back with you or something? With the backpack. Yeah, just look, like this. Like, hey man, can we have these empty cars?
The press room had free chips.
Chips and water cups. Oh, you got press too?
Yeah, I got this gun, sure.
Y'all want chips? Yeah, yeah.
I want some chips, son. Hell yeah.
Just some flaming cheese. Show it to the press.
To the press, man.
More ladies?
Which one you got? You got barbecue?
Please, barbecue massage.
I ran into Untrained Astronaut again and his sick camera rig.
High five. Look at this. Yeah. That's how you get up in there with Mike Teasy, though.
He got to film with Mike Tyson's crew that week. So dope.
Oh, yeah, it is. You just pretend to be part of the crew and send it, man. I already got offered some airdrops to the
Oh my god, dude, what a great investment. I'm so glad to hear that. High five again?
Untrained astronaut out there using cheat codes. Shout out to him.
Yeah, absolutely.
He said, shit, I'm getting offers on jobs.
It just
Gotta
kept
appreciate
backing me
that.
up,
Yeah,
even
he
though
ain't
we
on
were
vacation.
all
It's a business
walking the
trip.
same way.
All right, we'll catch you tonight.
Good stuff. And I saw the first police of my trip. Oh, but don't worry. We will see more police soon enough.
Sounds like you've got a real hard on for these police, buddy.
I sure do.
What's up with that?
Okay, that was dope. Yo, Friday. It's Friday. The con is over. We've experienced MJ BizCon. That was really, really,
really dope. Would you agree, Nick? Yes or no?
Yes, absolutely.
I think I spent 90.
And just think, Nick had to be talked into going. Come on, Nick. He got to be ready to go. RTG. Shout out to my Sunday playlist. Y'all see that one tomorrow, though.
5% up. Big truck. I think I spent 95% of my time hanging out. Oh, big plane. I think I spent 95% of my time hanging out with other content creators and about 5% of my time looking at booths at the convention. So that was very, very sick. Everybody be good. Everybody chill, honey bunny. This is a crosswalk. You get it, Nick? Pulp Fiction.
Yes.
Honey bunny. Be cool, honey bunny. This is a crosswalk, honey bunny. I can't believe I'm still talking with so much cotton in my mouth. Okay, look. 7-Eleven. Oh my God, we need a drink. Come on, Ross. Dress me for less. Then we smashed some Chipotle and headed back to our room at the Motel 6 for another gross shower. Then we hit the road to go to the Dream Factory, which is Jerome Baker's glass shop just outside of Vegas. I saw Astro again and hopped on his live stream.
Hey, come here. I'm live right now. Do me a favor.
Yo.
I need you to hold this while I take a night.
Absolutely. Yo, what up? What up?
He's like, I need you to hold this fucking camera so I can hit this fucking deal. Hey, God
So
damn.
cool to meet this homie in person. This is the first time I ever met Astro face to face. Look at this, right? This is like one of the first, 3 daps ever in our lives. Of many more to come.
Yes.
From there, we headed back to Astro's crib. He grabbed some sick cinematic shots of the drive, too. And when we got back, I met even more you homies. Baking Arizona had some fire stuff from Frostbite that we were all checking out, and it was amazing to see everybody coming together over this plan. It looks like your hand in the video. Then it was time for Fremont Fridays. Me and Envy Closet Med Grower found a table on Fremont Street, and the party was on again. The bomb was going around, tubes were getting stuffed, and everybody was super hyped. The police didn't like that at all, and they were like, you absolutely can't be doing that here. But I just hit them with the,
Sorry, officer. I didn't know I couldn't do that.
but this still wasn't the last time we will see.
Oh shit, he said I hit him with the I don't
Takeover
no,
met
I
up with
can't do
us,
that.
and the squad doubled in size. Hell yeah. We posted up in front of a stage, and Nick and Pigeons were feeling it. My homie was getting loose. Rob said this is called the Canadian Grip Walk. And Rob was just out here twisting up this dry-ass cigar with one hand while holding a beer like it was nothing. A true master at work. But I did see this store
you
that
gotta
I
get
heard
it
was a
in.
tourist trap that sells CBD to people that don't know any better. Wink. And as the night wound down, most of the crew headed out, but Nick and I stuck around with Envy Closet Med Grower. We checked out the giant metal praying mantis down at Container Park, and it was very sick. But I did not get to see it breathe fire. We made one last stop at Gold Spike to play some games, but they made me stash
Yeah,
my
they
bag
put
in
the
the car
shooting
because
fire
I had
for us.
too much
Said
contraband.
I missed it, but we
So
got it
no
out of here.
stash in the Gold Spike, but inside I met Zoltar, and he said, "You will subscribe to my channel." channel right now, and you will be greatly rewarded. When we left, I forgot my stash in the car down the road, and then came the most embarrassing moment of the entire trip.
How about this? They needed a lighter. The joint is canoeing, and I don't even have a lighter. Got all the string show shit on. He's got it on his damn shirt. Damn. I'm so sorry. You want me to find you a lighter? Oh, you got a lighter? Lighters,
So with it being in December, which is gonna be good, it's gonna be hoodie weather. I'll have to get me a new hoodie made.
This later, Strange Show. Look it up on YouTube. That's me.
Maybe 2 or 3. Hell, I'm gonna be down there for about a week.
No, I promise I won't.
Down.
You might be on the MJ Biz 2024 recap.
Yes, I hope so. But you disappointed me. You don't have a lighter.
I know, and that's fair.
You're wearing a weed sweater. You have dreads. You look like you smoke Halloween, and you have no lighter.
That's super fair. I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
Wow. Saturday morning was a little rough.
My head hurts. Nick, we need coffees now.
Denny's was in the parking lot of the motel, so food was a must. We did a little preparation in the car beforehand, and we started feeling much better at about this point right here. Breakfast in the evening was very good, even if it took a long time. And after food, it was back to the strip to check out Caesar's Palace. We had a big session with the bomb in the parking deck of Caesar's that was right on time. Then we hit the casino up. This place was huge and very cool on the inside. There was a trippy sky-painted ceiling that looked like an N64 game, and a weird curved elevator. Aw man, we missed the Garth Brooks show. But we did see a big fountain, and then I found the aquarium. I gotta get a saltwater fish tank. This aquarium was so dope. Then we went down the strip a little bit, and the goal was to go check out this huge Ferris wheel. On the way, I even saw the homie Towley.
You want to get high?
Now, that's what I call getting real high. Jesus Christ.
Yes, that's insanely too high.
Yeah, I mean, Garth Brooks, good show, but yeah, I mean, he had so much other stuff going on, right?
Good fish, but better truffle fries. After fish, we went back to the home growers takeover house, then watched.
Hopefully, if I can catch a concert while I'm out there, I know I will though. For sure, we definitely got to see a good show. Depends on who's available.
We even had the Doritos in a big pot on the floor.
I have to see who's doing
We had
a
some great sessions out back.
current stay in Vegas. Definitely ain't gonna go see Usher. I'll leave that to y'all ladies.
Watching each other's videos and talking about YouTube stuff. It was such a great time and exactly why I came to Vegas. Connecting with other creators like that was awesome. To cap the night
I am
off, we
definitely
hit
a
the
Raiders
beach
fan, so I
one
will
more time
definitely
for
be
some
checking out the
late-night
stadium.
Pancakes that were absolutely fire. Then it was like another amazing day in the books. By Sunday morning, the week was really catching up to us. All the walking and late nights had us feeling it.
Yeah, you got to be ready for that long day.
Always 10 a.m. all of a sudden. And you gotta like always check out your hotel room again.
Assessed with the bomb and some coffee made things much better, and that was good because we still had one last mission before we left.
So we have our ticket for the scenic drive at Red Rock, between 11 and 12.
Definitely got to have a
Just
date.
west of Vegas, we headed out to a little scenic drive that was totally worth going in the wrong direction. The road went through some sick landscapes that were beautiful, and it was nice to see this part of Nevada without all of the Las Vegas stuff. We drove about halfway around the loop before we started looking for the perfect spot.
Which way do you think? Up here? Over there? Up there?
This would be our last session until I ran into the police on the way home. And now here, surrounded by those views, it felt like everything had really come full circle. We rolled up one more time and we finished off our sauce. And we really just soaked in the moment and used this session to just reflect on what a great trip we had just had.
What up, DJ?
And now all we have to do is drive for about 11 hours.
Good to see you. How you doing?
The drive home felt endless, but we made it almost back to Colorado before stopping for a break in Utah. We pulled into a totally empty Arby's, grabbed a booth, and started rolling up. I'm not really sure why I did this, but then everything went sideways. So right when I went outside to fire this up, one of the employees came outside. There were only 2 people working there, and this young guy was walking out of the door and going around the back. So I thought he was going to, go smoke himself. I was like, are you going to smoke? He's like, no, I'm not going to smoke. I said, well, do you care if I stand out here and smoke? And I thought he would just be like, yes or no or whatever, but he was like, I'm not sure. Let me go ask the manager real quick. And he just runs off. I'm like, hey, dude, no need. Please don't ask the manager. But then he ran right back outside. He's like, I just asked her and she said she doesn't mind at all. I was like, oh, cool, sick. Tell her I said thank you.
The manager said she doesn't mind if we smoke here, so this is probably fine.
And as I'm recording this video, these headlights pulling up right now, that's the police. They pulled right up on me.
Are you for real?
Police guy.
And I have the cigar in my mouth when he pulls up, so I drop it on the ground and put my foot on it, just stand there on top of it, and he walks up to me and he's like, hey, we just got a complaint that you were inside the Arby's here rolling up some marijuana. And I was like, oh, absolutely not. So then this cop takes both of our ID and he sits with it in the car forever.
Holy shit.
I guess it wasn't okay, Nick.
That's how it be, though. You can smoke outside, but don't roll up inside.
Inside the store. That's not cool. Richfield, the police? Come on, buddy. Now he's got my ID. Bastards.
Nick said I called this one. Now I got the police hassling me. I just want to go home where weed is legal. I just dropped my blunt right by the cop and stomped on it when he pulled in the driveway. I mean the parking lot. For weed. There's another cop truck here now.
I was thinking, is this how this trip ends after all of this? But luckily, after what felt like forever, they just gave me my license back and told us to go to Colorado.
Get out of here, you filthy cappers. You bastards.
We kept driving, but about an hour from home, the roadblock hit. I-70 was closed in both directions for hours because of the ice in the mountains. It was just like one last reminder of how crazy this week had been. We sat there long enough for me to take a long nap, and seeing Nick standing on the side of the freeway in the snow, just peeing in front of everyone, summed it up perfectly. This trip was absolutely insane. From meeting all these great creators in person, to connecting with amazing fans like Liz, exploring Vegas, and even that run-in with the police. It was all a week that I'll never forget. I came here looking to step out of my comfort zone and meet new people and see what it's like to be part of this incredible community, but what I didn't expect was how much it would change my perspective. And not just on this community, but also for myself and for what's possible on this channel. And I couldn't have done this without you. This trip wasn't sponsored at all, and no brands covered any part of it. This was made possible entirely by the support of my channel members. So if you're a channel member, thank you so much. You're the reason I was able to go to this, and you're the reason I was able to have this amazing experience. And if you're not a channel member, but you would like to help me do more cool things like this, then think about joining. It's like the price of a coffee every month, and members get some really cool perks like extra videos and extra live streams, and you'll be directly supporting this channel so I can keep making cool videos like this. And if you want to hear even more about this trip, don't miss this video where I sit down with Pigeons 420 and we talked about this entire trip. We also talked about the craziest parts of the legal industry and all about irradiated flour, and yes, he even asked me about the mold situation. You don't want to miss this one. I'll see you there. Peace.
stuff. I texted you, remember? Dog, I haven't checked my phone in hours. No? You texted me back like 10 minutes ago. Really? You sure about that? You want me to show you? Oh, come on, bro. There's no need for us to fight. I'm not fighting. So what you need? Just a quarter. Gotcha. Be right back. Jesus, come on, dude. Here you go. You take care, man. There's like coughs everywhere, dude. Doesn't that worry you? Sometimes. Oh, shit. Please. Get down on the ground. Get down. Come out of the apartment with your hands raised. Surrender yourself.
Shouts out to how to make RSO.
RSO is a high-potency cannabis extract with high levels of THC along with other cannabinoids. Many researchers have demonstrated its health benefits as a substitute or an assist for prescription drugs. People that make their own RSO should use cannabis from indica strains to make the oil correctly. Many people suggest that these strains create a more subdued, relaxed state, which is key to assist healing. When you're going to be preparing to make RSO, you will need the following materials: 1 tall mason jar, 1 short wide mouth mason jar, a blender, preferably a smaller type depending on how much cannabis you're grinding up. You will need a basic crock pot, 1 full jar of 100% 200 proof grain alcohol, 1 fine cheesecloth for straining, and lastly, you'll need your cannabis. One of the first steps when making RSO is to grind up your cannabis. You can choose to do this by hand or use a blender. When you're using a blender, be sure to only fill up 1/3 to a half full so that the cannabis can blend evenly and not jam up on the blender. Make sure the lid is secured and tight. I like to blend it on a low setting so it's not too grounded up when I'm ready to mix it with the alcohol. You may want to shake it some, and if it gets stuck a little, it helps to grind up more evenly overall. When it's finished blending, I usually hit the sides of the container to get any stuck cannabis loose. After that, pour the grounded cannabis into the tall mason jar. Then repeat the process until all the cannabis is grounded up. Make sure you don't fill up the jar all the way so you will have room to stir and mix the alcohol. Now that the cannabis is fully grounded up, it's time to add the grain alcohol. It's best to freeze the alcohol for at least an hour before mixing. You should also pour some alcohol into your blender container to get out any remaining cannabis. Shake hard and then mix it into your final container. You want to be sure to add just enough alcohol to barely cover the top of your grounded cannabis. Take your stir. In my case, I used a juicer tool and some chopsticks, and mix the two for about 2 to 5 minutes. Make sure there isn't a bunch of cannabis stuck to the sides of the container when finished. Put your lid on tightly and place the final container in the freezer anywhere from 45 minutes to several hours. After you've frozen your final jar for at least 45 minutes, you want to grab your cheesecloth and place it on top of the short wide mouth mason jar. It's good to make a pocket for when you're pouring your juice so that you'll have plenty of room to catch the excess cannabis. You should make sure everything is secure by placing a rubber band or rope around the jar with the cloth. I double tied the rope I was using just to make sure it's nicely tightened. Gradually pour your juice into the cheesecloth until everything is gone from the tall jar. You may have to scoop the rest of the grounds out with a spoon or by hand into the cloth. I ended up using some more cheesecloth and another jar to strain all the cannabis grounds completely. Once it stops dripping on its own, I twist up the cloth so that I can strain the remaining cannabis juice without getting any grounds in the jar. This process can take up to 10 to 15 minutes depending on how much. Take the crock pot and fill it up with warm water. Fill up to the point of liquid in your RSO jar. Set the jar in the center of the pot. We're going to do the cooking at a well-ventilated spot. Here I do it at the window. For safety reasons, you will need a strong fan since you want to make sure to blow the alcohol steam out. You want to run your crock pot on high with the window open. I set it as white rice, but it actually doesn't matter. Now you can take a break and let it boil. It usually takes about 3 to 4 hours. Periodically check on your RSO, and you should always stay in for the entire time your RSO is cooking and never leave it unattended. Safety here is the most important, since the grain alcohol is highly flammable. Here you can see the liquid still running, which means it's not quite there yet. We are looking for something really gluey and thick. The liquid you see here contains grain alcohol, which is bad for your health if you digest it. However, when your RSO hits this state, you should watch it closely and check it every 15 minutes. We are looking for something like this, dark and thick. There is no flow when you tilt the jar. This means all the alcohol has been boiled off. You can use a stick to test your RSO. The texture should look something like this. To consume it, the best way is to purchase organic capsules and put your RSO into it. As to the dosage, it really depends. Start with a very small dosage and fill it out over the next couple hours. You will land on the perfect dosage for your body type and usage after experimenting. Thank you for watching. Please subscribe if you like this video. We really appreciate it.
What up, Cloud Cooker? Good to see you. How you doing?
That's Snoop Dogg, the Godfather. I hit that blunt. I'm gonna see the father. Damn, Earth was cool. Oh, this gas, 93 octane. God, take me now. Hey, cool it. He got another one sparked already. He being unreasonable. This beyond me. If you think I'm finna hit that blunt again, heavens no, I'm high, bucko. I'm puzzled. I'm finna give it right back to him and tell him I hit it 10 times already. I'm finna call 911 and report an attempted murder. He keep passing me blunts. He think we in a relay race. What a bummer. I'm finna put this out, and if he asks why, I'm gonna tell him I'm allergic to marijuana. Weed for me stand for with each exhale, I'm about to die. He gotta knock it off. I done already took 2 blunts. He done sparked a 3rd one. Smoke monster. I'm finna play sleep. I'm comatose. Fella, you took that blunt to the head. Now you finna be in the nearest hospital bed. This ain't the move. I'm finna scoot. He a different
Hey everyone, happy Sunday and welcome into our latest Traded Black podcast. I'm your host, Shad Dales, and today we're going to dive in once again to the biggest developments for the week in the cannabis industry for the week of February 24th. It's been a huge week with major earnings reports coming in from GTI, Trulieve, and Verano, along with other key players in the space. On top of that, we've got some wild numbers coming out of Germany regarding the explosive growth of the medical marijuana program. Lots to unpack, so like I usually do, let's dive into it. First up, we kick things off with Green Thumb Industries, the first of the major multi-state operators to report their Q4 and full year 2024 earnings. And let me tell you, the numbers did not disappoint. GTI's Q4 revenue came in at $294 million, marking a 5.8% year-over-year increase. Full year revenue hit $1.1 billion, up 7.8% from 2023. They also posted $98 million adjusted EBITDA, $13 million in GAAP net income, and ended up the year with $171.7 million in cash reserves. Well done. Perhaps the biggest highlight, they repurchased $43 million worth of shares in 2024 and maintained 53.7% in gross margins and expanded by 240 basis points year over year. Again, Wow. So why is GTI stock still down nearly 50% over the past year? Despite these solid numbers, the broader industry is still struggling with price compression, regulatory uncertainty, and capital market headwinds. But make it no mistake, GTI remains one, if not the strongest MSO out there. AKA, GTI is built different. Next up, another cannabis giant, Trulieve, who also delivered a solid Q4 in 2024 earnings. Revenue for the quarter hit $301 million, up 5% year over year, while full year revenue landed at $1.2 billion, with 95% coming from retail sales. Kim Rivers knows retail. Trulieve also reported record cash flow from operations, $271 million, a key indicator of financial stability. Gross margin improved significantly to 62%, up from 54% in Q4 2023. But here's where it gets interesting. Despite reporting a net loss of $155 million for the year, Trulieve managed to narrow its adjusted net loss to just $19 million once one-time charges were excluded. Another key takeaway, Trulieve expanded aggressively in 2024, opening up another 33 dispensaries, bringing their total footprint to 225 locations nationwide. They also launched adult-use sales in Ohio and introduced a new hemp-derived THC beverage called Onward, as Kim Rivers likes to say. So what does this all mean? While Trulieve is still working through debt and restructuring, its retail dominance and strong cash flow put it in a powerful position moving into 2025. Take note, everyone, you're starting to see GTI and Trulieve spread from the pack. Next up, Verano Holdings, who was the third major MSO to report this week, and their numbers were a mixed bag. On the downside, they reported a net loss of $273 million for Q4, up sharply from $77 million in losses last year. The revenue also dropped to $218 million, down from $237 million in Q4 2023. But there is a silver lining. Verano still posted a 49% gross profit margin and $63 million adjusted EBITDA, proving they can generate cash flow. For the full year, Verano's total revenue was $879 million, down 6% year over year, with a net loss of $342 million, though. That's a number that can't be ignored. So what's next for Verano? Investors are looking at how they manage their debt and whether they can sustain profitability in 2025. The stock's performance will likely depend on their ability to improve margins, stabilize revenue, and navigate federal reform efforts. A few other notable reports from the week. Kronos Group saw Q4 revenue jump up 27% to $30.3 million, with full year revenue up 35% to $117.6 million. MTL Cannabis reported $25.6 million in revenue, an 8% increase, but net income dropped $1.2 million compared to last year. Also, High Tide, they're still eyeing the German market, but their acquisition plans for a Pure Can GmbH remains uncertain. Not much more I can tell you about the story this time, but we'll keep you updated. Look, there's a lot of momentum in the space, but the real story is the widening gap between top-performing MSOs like GTI and Trulieve versus companies struggling to find stability. Next up, one of the biggest stories of the week comes out of Germany, where medical cannabis is absolutely exploding. Over the last 11 months, Germany's medical cannabis market has tripled in size, from 250,000 to nearly 800,000 registered patients, putting it on par with Florida's $2 billion medical market. But here's the kicker. Germany has 84 million people, while Florida only has 21 million. That means massive untapped potential as more doctors start prescribing cannabis. The growth is driven by the country's decision to remove cannabis from the narcotics list, making it easier to prescribe for doctors and access for consumers and patients. With an estimated 9 million Germans already consuming cannabis, the shift to the regulated market could be a massive opportunity for global operators. Plus, pricing-wise, the regulated market is cheaper than the illicit market, so keep your eye on players operating in the German market. Now, I know some people are worried about Germany's recent election results and whether the new government will roll back cannabis reform. My response to that? Don't be. Here's why. Germany's political system requires a coalition government to pass any bill. Right now, the CDU, which has opposed legalization, will have to work closely with the German Social Democratic government, and they fully support the current cannabis model. So long story short, it doesn't look like Germany's cannabis framework is going anywhere. If anything, with the industry's rapid growth and cost savings in healthcare, the government will likely keep things in place rather than dismantle a system that's already proving to work and proving really well. Now let's move to business in individual states where Ohio's new adult use market is already seeing major price drops just 5 months after launching. The average price per gram has dropped 27.6% from $9.40 at launch to $6.80 in January. Edible prices fell by 17% and vape oil prices declined 11%. So why does this matter? Lower prices are great for consumers but squeeze MSO's profit margins, especially companies with large footprints in the state like GTI, TrueLeaf, and Curaleaf. Also in news, the cannabis company, which many of you have reached out and asked an update on the company, well, they made headlines this week by extending its senior secured notes to 2028. This now buys them time to stabilize operations, but the restructuring means issuing new equity to bondholders, diluting existing shareholders. Now look, I know some of you are probably disappointed that there is dilution involved with this, but what's the alternative? Now with time being bought, the most important thing to watch for when it comes to the cannabis is how they manage their time and how they plan to execute between now and 2028. Early consensus on the street is it's a positive one. So, hope to have more updates regarding this company and get the management team back on here, the Traded Black podcast here, the new future, to find out more on what's next for this company. Good job by the cannabis this week. All right, let's now move to the political front where there's movement in a few key states. Pennsylvania, 70% of voters support adult use legalization, and Governor Josh Shapiro has included cannabis revenue in the state budget. Now this is interesting. However, there are Republican pushback and this could be delayed when it comes to legislation. Next steps, expect lots of negotiations and they will be contentious, but it's important because a lot of attention is being allocated to this topic, and with cannabis revenue already included in the governor's state budget, this is an encouraging sign. So things are about to get real in Pennsylvania. Next up, Wisconsin, where a Republican lawmaker is warming up to medical marijuana, potentially making it the 40th state to legalize medical cannabis. That mark a big moment. 80% of states would then have legalized medical cannabis. Times are changing, to say the least. Next up, let's now move to the nation's capital in Washington, where Pennsylvania Senator John Fetterman continues to push a federal legalization petition, rallying support for reform in Washington. With election season heating up, the next 12 months could be a turning point for federal and state cannabis policy. Look, Senator Fetterman, why not just sponsor the safe banking bill? That would be a nice incremental step, and really what we really need right now. So that's it for this week. To sum it up, earnings season is showing us who's thriving and who's struggling, while Germany's market continues to grow at a rapid pace. Well done. Also, Ohio prices have dropped, but according to TrueLeaf CEO Kim Rivers, she believes this is all part of the process and things will work out in the long run. So let's not get ahead of ourselves. Look, a big thank you to all of you viewers for tuning in. Make sure to like, subscribe, and follow us here at Traded Black for more in-depth coverage on the cannabis sector. One last thing, make sure to scan this QR code to become a daily baked-in newsletter subscriber delivered to your inbox weekdays, Monday through Friday at 8 a.m. Eastern Time, giving you all the latest information on the business side of the cannabis industry. Have a great rest of your weekend, everyone. We'll see you all next week. Stay informed, stay connected, and stay open-minded. And I'll see you next time on the TDR Traded Black podcast. I'm your host, Shad Dales. Thanks again, everyone, for watching.
Marijuana micro-business applications in Missouri officially closed yesterday. More than 1,600 applications were filed. If you're interested, a micro-business produces marijuana for medical and adult use, but it's done so on a smaller scale and without the same lofty overhead costs the bigger operations incur. That opens the market to a variety of growers.
And micro-businesses must have 250 marijuana plants or less. There can only be 2 dispensaries and 4 wholesale facilities per congressional district. So that is a total of 48 licenses that will be granted in the state through a lottery system. But again, as Sam said, 1,600 people apply.
Stakes here pretty high as businesses anxiously await to see if they're chosen. News 4's Nathan Vickers live in Ferguson tonight after talking to shop owners looking forward to this next chapter. Nathan?
That's right. You know, the marijuana industry in Missouri has developed very, very quickly, and you have a lot
lot of creativity in that industry too. This is Greenlight Dispensary in Ferguson, Missouri, and they're doing what's called a farmer's market. So they have people in with some specials. They can meet with the people who are actually selling and growing and producing the cannabis. And all of these people say that more people entering the industry is a good thing. In a growing industry,
This is just like all of our fertilizer here.
Bo Bradley's shop has found a niche.
They come here for basically everything.
He runs Grow Active Solutions, a cultivation supply shop in Tower Grove.
It's a really good community that we have here in St. Louis and in Missouri.
As the cannabis industry has developed, so have shops like his that sell equipment for home growing. Now, some of his customers are looking forward to Missouri's next chapter in marijuana.
I think that micro licenses are good for the community in general.
Micro businesses are smaller cannabis operations with fewer than 250 plants. The state will issue permits through a lottery system, granting just 6 in each congressional district per year.
We do have clients that are, turning in their applications that would like to get their foot into the door into the lottery.
The program is designed to expand the cannabis industry beyond existing dispensaries.
A lot of choices for consumers.
Tom Bomarito owns Greenlight in Ferguson. He says micro businesses are a little like craft breweries.
It's going to allow some folks that didn't have the money to get into the bigger, larger group that we're in.
He thinks it'll be good for the industry to have more sellers.
They'll have their own growers, and they'll have their own manufacturers, and they'll have their own dispensaries. And it'll be a closed group, so they will trade amongst each other.
As businesses keep growing, Bradley hopes to see new entrepreneurs popping up in the city.
I think that having those micro licenses will really let local people be able to show what they're capable of in this market and give them a chance to show themselves.
Well, the state says that they're going to award those permits sometime in October, but I've been talking to some people in the industry who think that the state could announce those a little bit sooner, maybe as soon as September. Reporting live in Ferguson, Nathan Vickers, News 4.
That is
So let's get back to the topic. I've got the garlic in there. I'm going to chop up this onion. I'm going to put a little bit of water, and I'm going to just let those saute down. Is sugar like crack? What do you all know about the studies? Have you seen any studies? Are you familiar with this, that sugar is addictive? And one of the main ways that we get it is in our ultra-processed foods. So anything that's processed or ultra-processed, for example, if you're eating a tomato, that's just a whole food. If you turn that tomato into ketchup, if you turn that tomato into any sort of sauce, then it's processed. And it may be ultra-processed, like a ketchup would be ultra-processed, because you can't even recognize it anymore. If it's salsa, that would be processed, because it has been changed, but it's not ultra-processed, where there's been all these additives and all these different things happening with it. So we're just going to rough chop our onion and put that in the pan. And remember, we're sauteing these all with a splash of water. Christiana, can you bring me the liquid aminos, please? Thank you. So liquid aminos, I'm going to use those as the salt here to season this up, and let's see what you all are saying in the chat. Rainbow is saying, dark vegetables and fruit come with extra stuff. Absolutely, the darker the berry, the sweeter the juice, right? But also the darker the berry, the sweeter the nutrients, like the darker the food. So Rainbow is saying, dark vegetables and fruit come with extra stuff, so eat lots of colors in fruit and vegetables, and eat from all over the world. It's ours to eat. Absolutely. So that's another good way to look at it. You know, when you think about it, you just have to say, okay, I'm going to eat the rainbow, as they say, but why are you eating the rainbow? Because the phytonutrients in the different foods are different. So you get vitamin A and carotene in carrots, or any orange vegetable, you'll find some of those same properties. So like butternut squash or pumpkin, those orange foods. Of course, the green foods you have, especially those leafy greens, right? Rambo, thank you. Rambo says, I love some okra. Absolutely. So I can't remember if okra has calcium in it. I can't remember the specific nutrients, but that's the nice thing. When you're eating the rainbow, you don't have to count calories. You don't have to worry about, am I feeding my loved ones? Am I being a superfood parent? How am I feeding nope, you don't have to worry about it. You just know that you're already doing great. when you actually are consuming whole foods. Let's say if you're a vegetarian, like David Hunt, he's a vegetarian, so he tries to eat a lot of whole foods. But if David and Michelle are over here eating processed and ultra processed foods, you can best believe that's where the sugar is hiding. The sugar is in the processing. It's sort of like a preservative. They know that it appeals to people's palate, and that sugar in most things is what makes you come back for more. So last night,
problems that are caused by more marijuana being available in a community. We're going to have more crime. We're going to have more addiction problems.
What are you basing that on?
Really?
A law professor, Jonathan Adler, corrected House Speaker Matt Huffman.
Certainly don't see evidence of significant negative effects on crime.
And any product that is legal today will be legal after the bill's passing. It does not reduce home growth amounts or increase the tax rate.
Trying to make things unappealing to children, trying to make it so our children don't have to walk down the sidewalk and inhale plumes of marijuana smoke.
They ignored the will of the voters. Don't tell me that people didn't know what they're voting for. Voters are smarter than my colleagues.
Shout out to Matt. Y'all know to go check out all
On
his
today's show, we
YouTube
got
channels.
big news coming out of Ohio where a recently proposed bill, which we discussed on the channel, that will reduce your plant count from 12 to 6, has actually passed the Senate. But also, we got a competing bill which is introduced, and in that bill, it'll keep the plant counts the same, but it'll make a few different changes. And also, Senator Matt Huffman of the Ohio House of Representatives, he was fact-checked when he falsely claimed that herb increases crime. We're going to get into all that today, but let's start off right here with the Ohio Senate, where they passed SB 56, which would change the laws that the voters approved back in 2023.
This measure would still have to go to the House and be passed there, and of course then signed by the governor, so it's not the law yet. But this would mean big changes to Ohio's recreational law, a law that voters approved overwhelmingly in 2023. Home growers would be limited to 6 plants per household, down from 12. And don't even think of sharing your weed. That would be against the law. Right now, it's illegal for a driver to smoke. The changes to the law would make it illegal for anyone in the car to smoke. And it would ban outdoor smoking. And it would let your landlord prohibit you from growing and smoking in a rental apartment or home. Republican senators appear to want to blame the voters, pointing out that voters in 2023 were voting to write a new law, not enshrine marijuana in the Constitution.
Not in the Constitution, but in the Ohio Revised Code. Knowing in full knowledge that the General Assembly could change it at any time.
The changes that we made in this bill are very reasonable.
And they say they're not thwarting the will of the people, only tinkering with the law to make it safer.
Trying to make things unappealing to children, trying to make it so our children don't have to walk down the sidewalk and inhale plumes of marijuana smoke.
But that law was passed by nearly 60% of voters. 57% doesn't tell you that the voters knew what they were voting for and appreciated that.
I didn't say that, Tom. Everybody had probably a different reason, a different provision of the language that was their primary consideration or one of their primary considerations for voting yes. The most important thing I can put out here.
Shout out to the big homie.
Consumer experience is uninhibited.
Basically, they ignored the will of the voters. Don't tell me that people didn't know what they're voting for. Voters are smarter than my colleagues want to give them credit for sometimes.
The bill now moves over to the House, which blocked a similar law last year. But here's what's different now. Presiding over the House is House Speaker Matt Huffman. Last session, he was the president of the Senate, which passed that similar bill, so it would seem likely that Huffman would be able to get enough votes to get this thing passed. But for now, it's still going to the House. We're not sure when they will take it up.
So as you guys can see, this is a situation where the voters have voted and the people have spoken, but it seems that the lawmakers are trying to subvert the will of the people. And in particular, one reason that they're citing for that is the increase in crime and also trying to protect the children. We've heard this a number of times before. They're always trying to protect the kids, but they're citing the crime. Actually, Matt Huffman has been fact-checked when he spoke about this. So let's hop into that because he made that claim and it was false.
They say the legalization leads to increased crime. Fact check, it doesn't. And the GOP leaders say they have a right to change it since they don't think the voters knew exactly what they were voting for.
Problems that are caused by more marijuana being available in a community. We're going to have more crime. We're going to have more addiction problems.
What are you basing that on?
Really? The more alcohol is available, the more people drink, and the more bad behavior results. And that's what happens with marijuana and other substances that cause people to think poorly.
But marijuana law professor Jonathan Adler corrected House Speaker Matt Huffman.
Certainly don't see evidence of significant negative effects on crime or increases in crime that some people fear. And there's some evidence that suggests at least some sorts of crime may in fact decline. It appears to reduce highway fatalities, appears to reduce some types of violent crime.
So that's really refreshing to see that professionals come out and actually fact check when these false claims are made. And a lot of people push these false narratives, and that sums up to propaganda. And when you're pushing false propaganda, it's usually for a reason. Now, it was great to see that the Ohio GOP lawmaker actually filed a bill to revise the voter-approved laws with less sweeping changes than the Senate passed measure. And this takes us back to what I was talking about earlier, where we actually got two competing bills right now. So let's have a look at those two competing bills and how they differ.
Ohio lawmakers are pushing forward with changing the state's laws.
For State House reporter Natalie Fahmy joins us now live to tell us what those changes might look like. Natalie?
Jared, Jennifer, there were two competing bills in the Ohio State House right now. One in the Senate that makes drastic changes to the state's law, and a new proposal in the Ohio House that in some ways takes a similar approach, but in others is lighter.
Amanda from Cleveland asked, what are the lawmakers trying to do? There are Senate Bill 56 and House Bill 160. Both make dozens of restrictions to cannabis access, but most notably, SB 56 limits THC content and reduces home growing to 6 plants. HB 160 also limits THC, but keeps home growing the same. Marty from the Sandusky area commented, wondering why the lawmakers are even making these changes.
House Bill 160 is sponsored by Representative Brian Stewart. He says he wants to make changes to the recreational marijuana law without ignoring the will of the voters.
When this is marketed as regulate like alcohol, we're doing that here.
Well, the bill does not go as far as restricting home grow, as its counterpart in the Senate does, or increasing taxes on recreational marijuana, as was considered. The House bill caps the number of dispensaries allowed in the state at 350, and only makes it legal to smoke on your private residence. Plus, it decreases legal THC levels by 20%.
What's your basis for decreasing the THC level? Is that something that you've heard that constituents want?
If you look at, states that have legalized marijuana, they're all over the map. Some are at 60%, some are at 70%, some are less than that. So I believe Michigan is at 70%. So to have us at 70% would be competitive with other states.
We don't think that this is necessarily a potency argument, but a purity one. Anytime that you are taking the potency down like that, you're adding in other fillers to products, and we don't think that's beneficial to consumers.
The legislation also requires that any Delta 8 products, sometimes known as diet weed, be sold in dispensaries. Right now, the product can be sold anywhere and with no age restriction. There is bipartisan motivation to get that done.
Whether it's a full-out ban or it's putting guardrails around, I think that is a discussion that I believe that both sides of the aisle can find agreement on.
Stewart says he and other leaders are motivated to get something done by the time they break for summer, which is usually by the end of June.
Now, there are a number of issues to unpack here, and we'll discuss the home grow issue in a bit, but first off, we got to talk about the packaging and things being sold to kids. The Delta 8 stuff being sold at gas stations and all that type of stuff, I don't like that, and I personally think that they should be sold at places that require ID. Now, I'm not trying to bash any of the producers or sellers of these gummies and stuff like that, but it really does appeal and look like it's actual candy and can appeal to kids. So in that sense, we just got to make sure it's safe for the kids. I have no problem with that. But when it comes to things like dispensary caps, prices, and that type of stuff, Ohioans are already suffering with super high prices. And in fact, that's why a lot of people are turning towards home grows. So the fact that they keep the plant count the same, I think is fantastic. A lot of people were really upset with the fact that they were considering reducing the plant count from 12 to 6. Now, just a quick reminder, guys, if you're getting value from this video, please do like, share, and subscribe to the channel. And if you want to support us further, join the ICANN VIP Bean Club or cop some merch from the merch store. Now, a lot of people have described this new bill, HB 160, as less restrictive. So let's hear what people have to say about this bill as it compares to the previous bill.
Lawmakers just introduced another bill that would update Ohio's marijuana laws. This bill is being introduced in the House. So it's different from the one News 5 has been telling you about that was introduced in the Senate that would lower THC limits and also limit home growth. Ohioans overwhelmingly voted to legalize in 2023, but lawmakers have been trying to change it. The latest proposal is House Bill 160. Its sponsor says it aligns more with what Ohioans voted on when they legalized marijuana. The bill would cap THC levels for extract at 70%, and any product that is legal today will be legal after the bill's passing. It does not reduce home growth amounts or increase the tax rate. Representative Brian Stewart says Ohio's law needs adjustment, but it doesn't need to change dramatically.
Any idea that we're going to pass a law and it's just the law for the end of time and it's never subject to the democratic process and revision is not realistic.
The bill also states that any product with active THC will need to be sold through dispensaries, which would include Delta 8 products.
So that bill is a lot less restrictive. It keeps the plant count the same and also does not increase taxes. So let me know what you guys think about that bill. One of the big changes that it will make is that it will reduce the limit for extracts from 90% to 70%. And another big change is that the Senate bill, which would have reduced the plant count from 12 to 6, had also come under criticism from advocates who argued that it would have effectively prevented people from smoking or vaping outside of private residences, for example, criminalizing consumption in one's own backyard. Now, how crazy would that be? You're vaping in your backyard, someone sees you, and you get in trouble. Now, it's also important to note that although the increased excise tax rate was removed from the last Senate version, Governor Mike DeWine has separately indicated his plans to double the current tax rate via the budget process, raising it to 20%. So even though it may not be in that bill, don't think that we're going to get away with it because he's still going to increase that tax through the budget process. Now, I do think that these are some less restrictive changes, especially comparing them to those changes backed by Matt Huffman last year, which would have eliminated home cultivation rights entirely for all Ohio adults and also criminalized all herb obtained anywhere other than a state licensed retailer. So we're making some progress in Ohio, but the thing is, if you give them an inch, then they want to take a mile. So you got to really be careful and keep these lawmakers in check. And I think that that's exactly what's happening when a lot of you guys have pushed back on that Senate bill, which would have limited the plant count from 12 to 6. So shout out to all the home growers and everyone who actually reached out to the Ohio representatives, local and state reps, to let them know that they're not in approval or not in agreement with what's happening. So let me know what you guys think about this entire issue. It's a really interesting one and we'll keep tabs on it. And something else that we're keeping tabs on is those tariffs and how they're going to impact home growers and also the wider community. So if you want to find out more about that, check that video out because it's coming up right now.
Everybody in New York was calling to get down with Mr. Nice Guy. We met all kinds of customers, like this guy here. He's what we call an enhancement smoker, because he thinks that marijuana makes every activity that much better.
Casa su casa.
Observe.
You're Scarface, right? Yeah. I love Al Pacino, man. Did you ever see Son of a Woman? Yup. You ever seen Son of a Woman on weed? That's the way to see it, man. It's just whack.
$60, yo.
Cool, man. I got it. Did you ever see the back of a $20 bill, man?
No, I don't know, yo.
Did you ever see the back of a $20 bill on weed? Oh, there's some weird shit in there, man. There's a dude sitting in the bushes, man. Does he have a gun? I don't know, man. I don't know. What? Red team go. Red team go. It's just some weird shit, man.
Man, you're fucking crazy, yo.
Oh, that's cool. Thanks, man. Hey, yo, wait. Dude, I'm gonna check out the stars later. It's really trippy. Especially on weed, man.
The marijuana business is growing in Missouri. As promised, the state has awarded licenses to 48 micro businesses.
KBC 9's Dennis 7 spoke with one of the owners who hit the marijuana sales lottery.
Missouri residents have grown accustomed to the sight of dispensaries like this on the corner throughout the state. There are about 200 and more are on the way. Demand for marijuana is high in the state of Missouri. Lots of money being made, and the state is now trying to keep its word by spreading the wealth by awarding 48 micro licenses.
The micro industry in itself was really conceived with the passing of the recreational bill. Essentially, it's its own encapsulated market.
1,600 people in the state of Missouri applied. 48 were picked through a lottery. License winners like Tango Hotel Charlie had to meet certain requirements, including having a net worth of under $250,000.
You've been incarcerated for a cannabis offense, for example, or if you have a disabled veteran or any kind of service-connected disability, things like that.
The goal is to spread the bucks that come from the bud. The current laws make it a little bit difficult for micros to truly prosper.
I mean, other than just a couple more stores popping up as far as competition, it's a little bit of a different competition because we can only sell X, Y, and Z products. We can't sell A, B, and C products that are, already on the market kind of a thing.
Well, now that the approval process has been completed, there's still the matter of getting these businesses up and running, and we're told that in many cases this could take up to possibly a year. Dennis Evans, KBC9 News.
The state is expected to award 48 more micro licenses over the next 2 years.
What up, Zero?
Owning a
Completely illegal across all states in the U.S. Even if you wanted to, there's no permit that allows private ownership. And before you ask, what about zoos? Well, technically, even they aren't supposed to have them. But authorities have bigger issues to handle, so it's not exactly their top priority. Now, you might be wondering, why such a strict rule on crows? Here's the deal. These birds are incredibly intelligent, with problem-solving skills comparable to a 7-year-old child. That intelligence can be misused. There have been numerous cases where people have trained crows to steal cash just by offering food in return. Some even hang around ATMs, snatching bills right out of people's hands before flying back for their reward. And it doesn't stop there. There's a story from 2011 where inmates managed to teach a crow to smuggle contraband into prison, including a knife. They simply kept feeding it, and each time the bird brought back something sharper.
Let's discuss my payment. That time is past. 5,000 for you. The price is 50. How about your payment is you get to leave? Not enough. Now you think you can negotiate with me? I say the word, my nephews go to a certain motel, pay a visit to your daughter-in-law and your little granddaughter. What do you think happens then? Consider your position carefully. I get my money, or neither of us walk out of here. You willing to die for this? Maybe I need the 50,000 more than you do.
The deadliest drugs you've never heard of.
And that'll be part of next week's videos. But hell, y'all already know what time it is. Now it's time to move into the green room.